All right, so buying a house with a mortgage. This is normally an assignment that at least one person cries every year. And the reason they cry is because they didn't realize how much adulting sucks. Yeah, so what we're going to do today is I gave you guys guided notes. We're going to kind of go through all of the definitions, what a mortgage actually is and how this works, because you'll have a project for like the next week or so where the entire purpose is for you guys to figure out what classes do you need to take in high school, what classes do you need to take in college, what do you want to be when you grow up, or that's okay. And then how much money will you make, and will you or will you not be able to purchase a house right off the bat? So when I first taught these units, we were in the middle of the housing crisis, like 2008, 2009, where you could get a decent house for like 75 grand. Because I did it, and I sold it, made 100 grand off of it. You can't do that right now. Like, at all. So the housing market right now is so oversaturated with people trying to buy because mortgage rates are so low that literally, like, shacks in Detroit are going for like $150,000. And you're like, bro, I wouldn't even let my dog stay in there overnight. All right. So, yeah, went too fast. Homeowner's mortgage is a long-term loan. Basically, mort. Anybody take French? What's mortgaging? Dead. All right. It's basically like a death note where you're going to die before you pay it off. That was the olden time goal with the mortgage. They gave you a loan. It took so long to pay off. You were more likely to die before you paid it off. Now, that doesn't mean that it's impossible to pay off your mortgage. All right. And the lucky thing is if you pay off your mortgage sooner rather than later, you end up with just when you sell your house, you're making bank off it. Every dime you make goes straight into your pocket. Okay? Down payment is the amount of cash that you need to come up with at the beginning so you can purchase the house. Now, this lesson is a very simplified version of the actual process of purchasing a home, because there's a ton of different mortgages out there. There's your traditional, there's ARM, which is an adjustable rate mortgage. Don't ever do an ARM. Because that ARM interest rate will flex, and I have seen it go up to 20%. You don't want to pay 20% interest on a 200. All right. So that's an adjustable rate mortgage. Bad you don't ever touch that. Closing is the final process in the sale. Basically, you sit down and Hanford. Literally, closing packets that I've signed have been about an inch and a half thick on legal paper. Like, it's a lot of stuff that goes into it. And points are interest rates that you prepay up front. So basically, let's say, and I know it says 1 point equals 1%. That's not how it works right now. Literally, if you want to buy points, 1 point is 1/8 of a percent right now. So let's say you want to drop your interest rate 0.5%, you would have to purchase 4 points to get it to go down that much. Does that kind of make sense? So for the sake of this project, we're just keeping it at 1% because that would make life way too complicated if we didn't. All right, so Patty and Marshall is who we're going to be following today, and we're going to decide whether or not they have the finances in place to purchase a home, and then whether or not they're going to be able to consistently pay on it. All right, so you probably are going to want calculators just for the basic computations. All right, so Patty and Marshall are looking to purchase a home that costs $249,000. All right, the bank requires a 15% down payment, and the vast majority of the time, they want 20%. All right. They also want you to purchase 2 points. All right, payable to the bank at the time of closing. So they're going to give you a bunch of requirements up front when you go to purchase a mortgage. So first, determine the down payment. All right, we break this down in step by step by step. What's going to be the down payment? So what percentage of the home cost is my down payment? 15%. So I've got my 249. 2 times 0.15. What do we got? Anybody got that in their bank account right now? No. Like, I have this many digits. That's all you get. You don't get 5 digits. You get 3. I can give you the last digit, right? So the next amount is going to be how much are you actually taking the loan out for? So when you purchase a home, you pay the down payment, and it reduces how much you're taking the loan for. So I've got the 249 minus my 37,350. Okay. So far, kind of so good. Everyone's like, hey, it's basic adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. All right, the cost of the 2 points. Now, they said 2 points payable to the bank at the time of closing. All right, the cost for points, if I flip back to my little definitions, it's prepaid to reduce the interest, and it's 1 point is equal to 1% of the loan amount. Okay, so you're not taking it off of the 249,000. You're taking it off of 211. Okay, so 211, 650 times 0.02. That's 2%. What was it again? So they have to pay, Patty and Marshall, have to pay $37,350 up front, and that's just their down payment. They've also got to pay another $4,200 up front for their points. So we're up over $40,000 that they have to pay up front on this guy. All right. You put 0.02? Or just, I was going to say you're off by a tens place, so that explains it. 4,233, $4,233. All right, so banks typically use a maximum monthly payment for what they figure you guys can afford. All right, so that housing crisis in 2008, they allowed people to borrow up and have a monthly mortgage payment of 50% of their take-home income. So let's say you bring home $3,000 a month. Banks allowed people to spend $1,500 on their mortgage. Now, that other $1,500 is supposed to feed you, keep the lights on, take care of your car, pay your water bill, internet, cell phone, blah, blah, blah. You think that's enough to spread it? No. So that's why the housing market crash happened, because banks let people overextend, and they called them subprime mortgages. So they were just giving mortgages out like hotcakes, not actually making sure people can afford it. And then the second people lost their jobs, bye-bye house. All right? So typically, to calculate your adjusted monthly income, you need to subtract any monthly payments that have more than 10 months remaining. So let's say you're going to pay off your car in 6 months. You would not have to factor your car into your adjusted monthly income because you're paying it off short. All right, but if you just bought, I don't know, a boat and you've got 5 years left on that loan, you're definitely going to have to include it in your adjusted monthly income. All right. Like car insurance, they assume that that's part of your budget already. Basically, they look at credit card payments, car notes, and that's it. All right. They know you have to pay for insurance on the home. They know you have to pay for insurance on your car. They really care more about whether or not you're successful in paying off your debts as quickly as possible. So banks, I think now we finally got back to the 28% rule, where instead of it being 50% of your take-home income, they limit it down to 28% of your income. All right. This makes sure that you can afford principal, which is how much you're actually paying for the house, interest, which is the thank you to the bank for loaning you money, property taxes, that goes to pay for schools, roads, all that jazz, and then insurance on the home. So if you end up accidentally catching the cabinets on fire while you're making bacon, you can get it fixed. That's all that story, because my mom actually did it. All right, so to determine a monthly mortgage payment, you need to use the table that's actually at the back of this packet. All right, so if you flip to that last page, there's that table. It's also on the mortgage project itself, so you guys have reference to it. All right, and that gives you the amount of principal and interest per $1,000 of your mortgage. All right, then you would just go through and add property taxes and homeowners insurance to that principal and interest payment to make sure it's still within your rule. All right. So, suppose Patty and Marshall have a monthly gross income of $7,250. All right. They have 23 remaining payments, their car loan. So is that going to count towards, like, is that going to ding them a little bit? Yep. They have 17 monthly payments on their daughter's braces. Is that going to ding them? Yep. 3 payments, braces for $175. And they've got 11 monthly payments of $45 for new furniture. So because it's 11, they get dinged here again. All right. The property taxes and the homeowner's insurance for the house that they want to buy are $165 and $115. Their bank will approve a loan that has a monthly mortgage payment of principal, interest, property taxes, and homeowner's insurance less than or equal to 28%. So, we've got a crap ton of information we have to go through in parts, but this is why we're doing it step by step. So, 28% of their adjusted monthly income. So when you go to calculate this, you've got the $7,250 that they bring home each month, right? And then Patty and Marshall have a crap ton of debts. What are all of their debts? So I know the kid was $175 for their braces, right? What else? $225? Is that the car? And then another $45 for the furniture. Now I'm going to take all of this. Oh, wait, never mind. I don't have to multiply. Okay. All right, so what is $7,250 minus all of their debts? So this is their adjusted monthly income. That's what we kind of have to work with. They want a 30-year mortgage. They've got an interest rate at 7%. All right, and this is, okay. So we need to determine what their monthly payment's going to be for that mortgage. So here's how we do that. I've got $211,650 divided by 1,000. All right, this is how many thousand? I'm going to multiply this by the number I get from the table. All right, so where's my table? Forgot. All right, so from the table, what did you guys get? $665 because it's a 30-year loan with 7% interest. So $6.65. All right. What do I get for that? just your principal, and your interest. Exactly. All right, so that's just for the house. That doesn't include property taxes and homeowners insurance. So what were the property taxes and the homeowners insurance again? So what is going to be their total monthly payment? The $1,407.47 plus $165 plus $115. Got to add it to the $1,407.47. That's okay. $1,687. So here's the thing. These numbers, 7% interest rate on a mortgage right now is unheard of. Right now they're offering mortgage rates at like 2.25%. I was going to say, this number drops a lot. Hmm? Yeah. So once you pay off your house, literally your only monthly bills are going to be taxes and insurance. Well, I mean, you have to pay water bill because you're using water. I'm just talking like basics for the house. So instead of having a $1,700 bill every month, you've got $280. That's way easier. Sarah? An apartment? So apartment is another story. Basically, we can look at some apartment rates, but you're paying them like, please let me live here. And then you have nothing to kind of show for it at the end. And I don't want to say nothing to show for it at the end, but you can't sell the apartment and make money off of it. Yeah, so I have a friend who's a traveling nurse, and she ended up buying a condo and renting half of it out. And basically the rent for the condo is 80% paid for by her roommate, and she goes all over the world. She just hangs out there like a week a month. But taxes and interest came from right here. Alrighty. So the last part is determining whether or not they qualify for this mortgage. So I know that the mortgage is $1,687, and I need to make sure that that is less than or equal to 28% of their adjusted monthly income. So their adjusted monthly income was $6,805 from Part A up here. So what is 28% times $6,805? So can they buy it? Yes, they are good. Now you can also work in reverse of this, okay? You can figure out, all right, here's my adjusted monthly income, here are taxes and everything else, because for your project, I'll give you the interest rate, and I'll give you what your taxes and your insurance are. But you have to go find the house and make sure that you've proven that you can pay for it. So what I've done with kids in the past is I've taught them how to reverse engineer how much they can afford. So then instead of looking at the Zillow mansions, because let's be honest, that's what everyone does first, they know, okay, my price range is between here and here. They have that on Hulu, and it's dope. Sweet. All right, ready to keep going? So this is the last part with Patty and Marshall. So they're still buying a house, $249,000. Nothing's changed. We're looking at the same house, the same 15% down payment. All right, same 30-year mortgage. All right, they paid 2 points up front. Their monthly principal and interest is the $1,407.47. All right, so determine the total amount, including principal, interest, down payment, and points that they're going to have to pay on their house over 30 years. So this is where mortgages and exponential growth come into play. All right? When you look at a house and how much you're actually paying, you will end up way overpaying for it. All right? I know I'm paying $1,407.47 every month towards that house, correct? How long am I paying for that mortgage? And how many times a year do I pay for that? Big number? What is it? How much of that is interest again? Way more than 30%. So 506, 689. The amount that they mortgaged for that house was the 211, what was it, 650? This is the thank you to the bank for them loaning you money. No. So, the reason I teach you this is because, number one, nobody pays 7% unless you have a crappy credit score. Okay? Number two, there are ways to do this where you're not paying out the tushy to the bank. Alright? No, mine's all legal. Me too. Alright, what's part C? Alright, so to calculate this, we need to do principal times 1 plus my interest rate. Well, let's actually get it. R over N is T. Alright, R equals interest rate. N equals number of times it compounds. T is the number of years. T is principal. All right. So what do you guys think? Do you think over half of your payment is going towards interest, or under half of your payment is going towards interest? One over. Anybody else? We still just in sticker shock right now? So, 211, 650, 1 plus 0.07. Alright. Now, compounding per year, typically they'll give that to you. I'm going to say that it compounds every month. Alright. So I know that's a really complicated way of writing it. 12 times 1 over 12. Compounding. So it means every month they charge you new interest. And then that interest goes on top of interest, on top of interest, and that's where you get the $295 stuff. Because they're charging you interest on top of everything else you've already paid. 12 months in a year. Yeah? All right, so this is technically 1, right? Because 1 month out of the year times 12 months, that gives me 1. So what is the 211,650 times 1 plus 0.07 times 12? Ooh, I know why. Get rid of 1 plus. Just do that. So the 1 plus says principal plus however much you paid in interest. I only want interest. Okay. This is how much you're paying in interest. 1,234. Any change? This is just straight up interest. How much was my monthly mortgage payment again? $1,407. So how much am I actually paying towards my house the first time? Yeah, less than $200 is actually going towards my house. It is below. What? Sad life a little bit. It is. All right, so, all right, focus on me for a second, because we've got, oh, wait, that's the student now. Where is my project? Why? Yeah, green kids don't talk at all in first period. All right, so I want to kind of go over what your project is going to be and kind of what all that entails. Okay? So if you guys have your Chromebook, you guys can follow along with it. Actually, let me just, Word is apparently taken. So, real quick, this unit's going to take us a couple weeks, and you'll notice on Google Classroom that I have a Unit 8 book. It's actually Chapter 3 out of a pre-calc book. So, we're going to be doing, like, there's some book homework days where I'll tell you, like, page numbers that you need to do. Just do it on a separate sheet of paper. The problems are in there. All right, and the page numbers matching everything. But for the actual mortgage project, I've not only got an example of an awesome one that a kid did a couple years ago, but I've got the Word back with the project. So it's broken down in parts. The first step for your project is to go to the BLS website, which is the Bureau of Labor Statistics. That's actually the government, where they go through and they kind of tabulate what the incomes are going to be. And then you're going to decide what you want to be when you grow up. Just for kicks and giggles. If you don't know, Michael, I'm recording. If you don't know what you want to be when you grow up, come up with a couple ideas. All right, go to the BLS, start researching them, and you could put multiple different jobs in there. And then when it comes to buying a house, just pick the one that pays the least. Because you know, if I can buy a house off of a teacher's salary, I can definitely buy a house off of a doctor's salary, right? So you'll go to the BLS. I gave you a link in here. You're going to attach a screenshot in your final project with the lowest 10th percentile. And the way you do that is you can literally just hover over the map, and it'll give you the lowest 10th percentile. So the reason I tell you guys pick the lowest 10th percentile is because you're a brand new baby, whatever you are when you grow up, right? Ain't no way they're paying you median. You are nowhere near the middle yet. So you take that starting salary, all right? Part 2 is going to be where are you going to school and how much is it going to cost you. So, again, link. You can pick 3 different universities. Emma. We're going to live in a world where you don't have the GI Bill. And I've got a whole little Excel spreadsheet that I'm going to show you guys next. That's going to help you calculate it. Sarah? Yes. Then, so we'll have it with the student school here in a minute. All right. So you're going to kind of go through, do some research on your colleges. So my backup plan in college was actuarial science. That's risk analysis. Yeah, I could be making $500,000 a year. But I would be sitting in a cubicle miserable. And I can't. So for me, Michigan was one of the only universities that actually offered a straight up actuarial science degree. That's why I went to Michigan, because I knew if I wanted to go for my backup, they had the program. Like Harvard didn't even have the program in the early 2000s. So, hence why I didn't apply. So what classes do you need to take? That's going to be kind of the difficult part. So once you pick a for sure university that you want to go to, like I give an example right here of how you find it on the University of Michigan website with which classes do I need to take to get this degree. They'll list them all out for you. Every university does that. Okay, so if you get stuck, and you're like, hey, I'm looking at, I don't know, Northwestern, I can't find their degree program for being a dentist, like, how do I figure out what classes I need to take? I can go through and help you find it off of their website. All right, so the reason we're doing this is because if you're going into certain programs will steer you more towards calculus, others will steer you more towards statistics. All right, in Arizona, nursing, AP Stats. You had to take AP Stats. If you went anything STEM related. So I had nuclear something. She's a nuclear engineer, I think. Obviously, we're going calculus, right? This way you can kind of come up with a plan of classes that you know you need to take if you want to be that when you grow up. Because the goal is take as many classes as you can while you're in high school and you don't have to pay for them because it's going to save you money in the long run. All right? Student loan debt and then calculating how much you can afford and then finding the house, that's kind of the easier part because you get to go on Zillow and like look at everybody's houses that are for sale. Most of the time, kids immediately go for their house to see what their house is worth and if they can buy their house off of their parents. That's like every kid's first thing is, mansions, can I buy my mom and dad's house? All right, so that's kind of the end of the project right there. It's kind of going through and telling you what you want. But step 4, this is going to be this tuition calculator. All right, so you're going to want to save and make a copy. I put notes in there that says, for the love of God, do not change any of the white cells. Only touch the yellow ones, because I have formulas that are in there, and it'll spit out your different numbers. So if I click open with sheets, so if your degree program is only 2 years, I would only input data for graduate tuition and room and board. Okay? The reason why I say only do it for graduate is because graduate degrees are 2-year programs. Bachelors are 4 years. All right? Now you'll notice there's a couple of different pieces of data that are asked. What's your homework grade in your class? How many missing assignments do you have? All right? So the idea behind this is I'm trying to simulate your credit score. All right? If you make all of your monthly bills, pay them on time, you're going to have a better credit score, which means you get a lower interest rate. Better credit score, lower interest rate. Less money I have to pay to the bank as a thank you, right? Now, when you start missing homework, that credit score starts dropping and your interest rate's going to go up because now you're a riskier person to loan money to. Does that make sense? So if you input these 3 values, you'll notice stuff over here changes. All right? These numbers right here for undergraduate tuition and graduate tuition, you can get those off of that Big Future website, and it'll spit everything out and tell you. All right? Or you can go to the actual school and find that data. All right? So let me just tweak some of these numbers real quick. Yeah, we can do homework grading this class. Let's say you have 15 missing assignments and your homework grade is a 25%. See how that discount changed? So the discount that we're kind of calculating is, do you get scholarships? Do you get Pell Grants? Do you get all of these different things? When it goes negative, now you've got to start going with banks to get student loans. Average student loan interest rate right now is about 6.5%. All right, that's if you go federally. If you go to like Wells Fargo and try to take out a student loan, it's going to be about 13%. So this is simulating, now you got to go take out other loans because nobody really wants to loan money. Down at the bottom, it's got a max monthly mortgage payment. All right, so you would input your projected yearly income and then how many years your mortgage is going to be. The interest rate and your down payment are all calculated off of that first tab. Okay, so you're going to get the vast majority of your information from these tables. So, to get your year for mortgages, I actually have like a little dice and you roll it. The goal is 30, but you can buy a house with a 10-year mortgage. It's just going to maybe not be what you want. Alright, does that make sense? So this is going to be your insurance, your taxes, miscellaneous debts, kids' braces, car note. I decided I want to buy a PlayStation 5 and a brand new TV, whatever. Alright? This is kind of what we're working on for the next couple of days. Terrified? Okay. Don't be terrified. You're going to be fine.